Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. This will be a pretty easy stream about what's going on, and then we'll get to the Q&A. But first, we have to ask the question, should you sell your house for Bitcoin? And more to the point, should you sell any of your assets and investment properties and investment assets for Bitcoin? Well, it's a good question, and it's something that the third richest man in Mexico, as he's famously known, Ricardo Salinas from the Salinas Group, multi-billionaire, and he was on the show with Robert Breedlove, and this clip is about a minute and a half. And I have to tell you, when he says these things, you really have to start thinking about, is he right? Is he right about these things? On some of them, I absolutely disagree, but there's one point, and I'm going to show you my multi-million-dollar mistake after this about what he says. So just real quick, I want you to listen to this, kind of drill it in, make sure you can hear this perfectly, about a minute and a half or so, and just take a listen.
Bitcoin is as pure money as it can get, right? We all know the rules of the game. Here's the blockchain. Here's the coins. I can send them to you. You can send them to her, and she can send them back to me. And if you're thrifty and you don't spend them, you're going to do well without doing a lot of esoteric finance, you know? So that's why I say for most people, my solution is you have a house. If you think that's your investment, sell the house and buy Bitcoin, and rent, or keep the house, take a mortgage, buy Bitcoin, and then use the Bitcoin to cover your spending needs as they show up, you know?
Yeah.
Because, people need to live, right?
Of course.
There's many different kinds of investment objectives and thresholds. I mean, for most people, saving is in the form of a house. And it's not a bad saving, okay? It's not bad because the asset doesn't go down. It's just that asset, compared to Bitcoin, doesn't stand a chance, right?
Go down, yeah. Right.
Because you can always make more houses.
Yes.
Bitcoin, you can't make any more.
That's right.
And you can't take the house with you if something happens. And, you get the property tax and you get the maintenance and Saylor has done an excellent job of pointing out the weaknesses of real estate investment versus Bitcoin. But of course, also people need to have a house where to live. And, that's different. It's a good investment to use a house for living. Now, if you want it as an investment, it's different.
Yes.
It's different, that's for sure. So this was actually brought up 2020, 2021, when we were having this blow off top bull run. And everybody's very ecstatic about what was happening. They were very enthused into it. And I remember Michael Saylor was saying that, you really should just get rid of all properties, even the one that you live in, and you should start selling your house, take that mortgage out, and buy Bitcoin. And I believe he said also you can take a second mortgage out on your house and start to buy Bitcoin. And in 2021, we're like, that makes sense. And then things got a little dicey because right now we can say those things because, Bitcoin's doing great, right? Everything's doing fantastic. However, remember in 2022 and everything collapsed? There's a lot of reasons that didn't have anything to do with Bitcoin itself, but within the ecosystem that is the digital asset space, it collapsed for a variety of reasons. And because of that, Saylor got raked over the coals. A lot of people did get a little burned, but not burned because they invested into Bitcoin as they sold their house. Because if you would have bought Bitcoin, let's say you sold your house, right? Let's say your house costs $500,000. And you would have bought $500,000 worth of Bitcoin at the very tippity top, roughly around $67,000. Well, you'd have to rent that whole time, which is not a bad deal. I mean, if you could find a reasonable price, you wouldn't have to pay anything for uptake, any type of maintenance. You wouldn't have to pay any type of tax. That'd be for your landlord, the one who owns the house. And then right now, that $500,000 would be worth, correct me in the comment section, somewhere around $870,000. Not a bad one, right? If you just put it into the very tippy top. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you got it at $50,000. Well, guess what? Congratulations. You got a cool $1 million sitting there for you. It's something to think about. However, on this channel, I can't give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You have to discover what it is that's best for you. But I will say there's something about owning your house and not having that stress of where the funds are going to come from. And you just live there and it's okay. However, this would go to my next piece, which is I'm going to talk to you about, I've talked about it before, my actually multi-million-dollar mistake. And what it was is because, you know, we like real estate. And what we did is we moved to Puerto Rico in November 2020, somewhere around there. And we immediately bought a condo, 5 blocks from the beach, reasonable place, cost about $180,000. And so we paid for that. And then, of course, we just sold that actually about 6 months ago for roughly $325,000. So not bad, right? And of course, we rented it out, so we got a little bit there. However, if I would have taken, I don't know, that $180,000 and I lump summed it, let's say November 15th. Let me refresh this. Lump sum, 180,000. Oh, sorry, not 2024. Excuse me. 2020, November 15th. That 180,000 will be worth what again, Rob? 11.2 Bitcoin, 1.2 million. And I don't even know if that's where it's going to stop. That's just the price today. So I have to tell you, if you're into real estate like we are, it's great. There's a great cash flow component to that. It's good for that. But you also have to think about who's paying for the taxes? Where am I getting the money for the taxes? How about the upkeep? How about when things break down? How about when people call and complain? Who am I going to send over there? Am I going to do everything myself? I'm going to hire somebody. And a whole multitude of things that is the real estate market, as opposed to, you know what? Maybe Bitcoin can go a little bit farther. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And also, speaking of Bitcoin, there's this piece. I don't know where it's coming from, but before we were always talking about Bitcoin Treasuries, Bitcoin companies that were putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And it started with MicroStrategy, and it worked its way down to the miners, and then we've had various businesses. And now it seems like we're getting a lot of pieces that is coming out. And I just see it every little place about how these Bitcoin Treasuries may not be a great idea. And I think it's related to, obviously, Ethereum and altcoin treasuries. But this was a post a couple hours ago, 18 hours ago. Bitcoin Treasury playbook faces a far shorter lifespan. I'm going to disagree. I'll tell you why. This is from Glassnode lead analyst James Check. He says, my instinct is the Bitcoin Treasury strategy has a far shorter lifespan than most expect. It could already be over for new Bitcoin Treasury firms. Investors favor the early adopters. Nobody wants the 50th Treasury company. I have to tell you, there's only 21 million Bitcoin out there. And also 7 million are gone already because they have been lost because people were mining them in 2010, 2011. And, take your pick of how many actually have been lost because people just lose their seed phrase, lose their storage device. There used to be this thing called paper wallet. I mean, that doesn't sound too fantastic, but I mean, somewhat safe. Regardless, I don't think this is the issue. It's because if you go back to like the .com era, when all these different companies were just adding .com to their marketing press and saying, yeah, we're getting the internet, when they had no inklings to actually do. Of course, they'd figure it out later, and then they all joined in late. When those companies put .com on, they pumped and they pumped and they pumped because everybody was like, oh, it's going to go on forever. With Bitcoin, you can't do that. There's only so many around. And there's a statistic, correct me in the comments section, but for all the millionaires that are out there, there's not enough Bitcoin for each millionaire to have one Bitcoin. And we have these monstrous institutions snatching up Bitcoin like it's going out of style. MicroStrategy itself has 600,000 Bitcoin, 50,000, 37,000. I mean, for the top three, it's a lot of Bitcoin. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, I don't think people give a hoot about who's got, if you're the 50th or the 150,000th. If you got a little bit of Bitcoin, I think they're like, you know what, that's a pretty smart move. Maybe I'll get into that. Especially if your company kind of sucks, nobody use it, GameStop. I'm just saying, I think a lot of people should do that. A lot of institutions should because they're going to, save their companies moving forward. Heck, look at MicroStrategy. That stock was flat from .com until 2020. And the only time it really pumped was because of Bitcoin. And thank God that they did it. But I'm just telling you, it wasn't because the data analytics firm was so awesome. It was because they put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And the more companies that do it, the better. But that's just my opinion, and I could be wrong. So there's these Bitcoin treasury pieces coming out about it's not going to work out. It's not going to be so great. We even covered this a couple of days ago. Anthony Scaramucci says the Bitcoin treasury trend will fade despite Saylor's success. He did say he's still a big Bitcoin bull, but he gave some reasons for it, kind of matched over there, a little bit different. That was a couple of days ago. I'll try to link that in the comments or in the description of the video, or you can search for it. And then, of course, we have Tom Lee from Fundstrat, and we covered this a couple of days ago as well, where he said, hey, we're going to put Ethereum on our balance sheet for Bitmine, and we're going to go forward with that. And I think that's where all this comes from. It comes from these different companies that are putting Ethereum and other altcoins on their balance sheet, and people are going, you know what, that's the next big thing. People love new shiny objects, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. I mean, heck, I got a bag of Ethereum. Pump my bags, please. But I don't think that the Bitcoin treasury is going to fade out like a lot of people have said, but could be wrong. And then speaking of this, I was just looking at this. Look at all these. I did not know. This is a new website I found, bitcointreasuries.net. I thought they were all like American and Canadian and maybe EU. But I was flabbergasted. I was confused to see like the Chinese flag. And I'm like, that must be Hong Kong, which Hong Kong is, I mean, it's China, but it's not really China. It's China because it's, how it incorporates, but it's not as strict as mainland China. But then there's another one called Nano Labs. I was like, 1,000 Bitcoin. And then I saw this article that on top of the Bitcoin, I think this is a smart way to do things. Very smart. There's like, you know what? Bitcoin's cool. It's great. Let's hedge our bet. Let's do a little BNB. Nano Labs buys 50 million of BNB in a 1 billion plan. And their goal is to hold up to 10% of the supply of BNB. Not bad, 160 million. So Nano Labs, a NASDAQ listed chip maker, snapped up about a 50 million worth of Binance as it worked towards a goal of only 10% supply. Yeah, Hong Kong based company. Said it bought 74,300 BNB in an over the counter deal at an average price of near $670, lifting its total digital asset reserves, including Bitcoin, to around 160 million. So I think this is going to be the norm. And there's going to be a lot of different companies saying, we like Bitcoin. We're also going to do a little bit of this and, put a little altcoin here, put a little this and that. So I think that would be a fairly reasonable strategy as long as they don't go, you know what we did? Fartcoin, 99% and 1% Bitcoin. Those people aren't going to make it, but I don't think there's any out there. So let me just think about that. And then lastly, before we get into some scary news, Trump. I'm going to attempt to say something good and bad about Trump so everybody doesn't lose their mind. I hope you're ready for this. Ready? Here we go. Investors poll show that 73% approval for Trump's crypto policy is a bullish view on price increase. 60% now expecting prices to rise over the next month. As far as crypto and digital assets, I think Trump's doing a good job. There's a caveat, so just hold on. Don't start screaming at the screen. You're going to be okay. Over 70% of U.S. crypto investors approve of President Trump's administration approach to crypto policy, according to a recent survey conducted by HarrisX. HarrisX polled only 1,000 adults online from June 18th to June 19th, including 230 self-identified crypto investors. So now you're asking yourself, well, which state is it from? Which city? Were they Republicans? Were they Democrats? No idea. But I will just say these were the results. 81% said that they follow the administration's crypto actions. 73% approved of the policy track, and 71% judge those measures beneficial to the investment case for digital assets. I mean, look, when you come out and say, we're going to make Bitcoin digital assets the hub in America, and we're going to make sure that we do it before Chinese does it, it's pretty much signaling to China like, look, you better put up or shut up because we're going to try to run this as best as we can. That's great. I like competition. I especially like when other countries buy Bitcoin. That would be great. Meanwhile, 49% of all retail investors described the impact as positive, 90% were unsure, and 70% viewed the policy mix negative. Here's what I'll say about that. Some good things he did. There's some bad things he did, because guess what? Nobody's perfect. Pick your favorite politician. That person sucks too. So on top of that, he did a terrible thing with the official Trump coin. Essentially, he gave that to his insiders at some party. They pumped it like crazy, and then they dumped it on all of us. Those sons of damn, that's what happened. And they did the same thing on Melania Trump, or Melania meme coin. Look at that. It wasn't even really a pump. It was just a big, slow exit strategy dumpathon. Congratulations, your exit liquidity. And then also, I think there was a mistake here. This was from Leading Report. Breaking: every U.S. child will receive a $1,000 S&P 500 starter account at birth once President Trump signs the big, beautiful bill, which he did on July 4th. And then, friendly, is this true? And this is from Grok. Yes, the claim is accurate. The one big, beautiful bill includes a $1,000 tax-deferred S&P 500 linked accounts for U.S. newborns from 2025 to 2029. Congress passed it July 3rd. I said like this: that's great, but historically speaking, the S&P 500 doesn't go up in a straight line. And some years it goes up 20%. Some years it's stagnant. Doesn't really do too much at all. Just take a look at 2008 and 2001. So you would take a look at that and say, well, that's not going to be so great every day. What if they just did this? They give you like $750 of S&P 500 for stability. And they put in 25% of Bitcoin. I think that would have been a massive opportunity. Again, it goes back to the theory of where Bitcoin is going. If you believe, like I believe, it's going to go very far because of the finite, not the scarce supply, the finite supply of it. That would have been a better shot. I think they screwed that up. But that's just me being a total maximalist. So let me know if you think that's a wacky idea or not. And then lastly, this is bad. And I'm going to tell you why it's bad. It's because all of you in the chats right now, you're all targets. Every single one of you. Belgium court sentences 3 men to 12 years each in crypto kidnapping case. I mean, this part's good. I like when justice is served, especially when you got some punks trying to, I mean, imagine someone trying to steal, they kidnapped your wife so they can exonerate a bunch of, millions of dollars from you in a kidnapping case. Imagine that. This is what happened. Prosecutor said there was 3 guys. They abducted Winkle's spouse. Winkle, apparently he is a, who is he? Oh, Stefan Winkle, crypto investor. He's not even part of any type of business, just some crypto investor, some guy just like you might be in the comment section, or gal, just walking along. And for some reason, they figured out that he was a baller. First of all, stop showing off your stuff in social media. Be poor, act poor. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Anyhow, Winkle's spouse outside the couple's home on December 20th, they forced her into a French registered van and sped toward the coast. Local agents successfully derailed the vehicle into a ditch near Bruges. Imagine if they didn't do that. Imagine if they weren't able to get him and they stole his wife, and of course he pays the ransom, and then maybe they return her, maybe they don't. Just saying. And officers arrested the 3 adults inside. A teenager accomplice allegedly involved was referred to juvenile court. During the trial, the defendants claimed, and this is where it gets scary, and this is what I need everybody to really zone in on. The defendants claimed that shadowy sponsors had threatened to kill them unless they carried out the plot. That's not the only time. It happened a year ago. Crypto-related kidnapping in Las Vegas. This is a crypto investor, just some dude walking along in Vegas. He was at a small crypto convention that was scheduled around the same time that many visitors would be in town. Miller told police he went home to his Las Vegas apartment. After getting out of his vehicle, he was approached by 3 people with guns wearing ski masks, and he was forced into the back of a Hyundai SUV. Whatever. Miller said the suspects were communicating with someone over the phone who guided them through the kidnapping. And they told him, you do this and this and this, take his Treasury wallet and take him here and here. And they actually dumped him in the Arizona desert. Same thing here. During the trial, defense claimed shadowy sponsors that threatened to kill them unless they care. So there's somebody behind the scenes finding these investors, kidnapping them, which isn't hard to do. I must say, I'm not that I'm into kidnapping. I'm just saying, because of social media, because of what people do, because people put their lives out there, it is ridiculous to say that there's a lot of things going on that is bad. And I want to warn everybody because it can happen at the end of the day. So what do you do? Well, you can fight like crazy. Crypto billionaire bit off a kidnapper's finger during ambush. I mean, you can go that route. I mean, that would be a good idea. Just start biting fingers off. Just like Cookie Monster, biting everything. Or try to do this. In the description, there's these crypto critical videos. And one of those is called Portfolio Storage Diversification. This is on the website, Dan Teaches Crypto. It's 100% free, link in the description. I'm saying you can go here to watch all these critical videos, and you don't have to be on YouTube and get bogged down with ads or whatnot. You can just go here and it's free. It'll always be free. And it just pretty much tells you like, hey, a good idea would probably be a little bit of custody service somewhere else, multiple ledgers, multiple nanos. So if you do get kidnapped, you're like, yeah, I only got this one ledger. Now, unfortunately for me, if someone wants to kidnap me, they already know that, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. It's just I'm trying to let everybody know what to avoid and go from there. So watch that video, please, if you would be so kind. And just learn about diversification. Again, if you don't want to sign up for the website, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's a great website. Some of the best, most fantastic website of all time. That's not what I said. It's what people have said. And or you can just go in the description and I label them all out here. Why storage diversification? And go from there. That's it for today. Wow, that took a long time. Look, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now let's get into a little Q&A and answer all your questions. Crypto says, Rob carries a 45. I mean, we all have guns. We're in Texas. But here's the thing, right? Like there's this story that stuck with me about one of the guys that got kidnapped, him and his whole family and the maid in Chicago. Guy pulled into his driveway, went to the door and said, hey, I'm really sorry. I just, I scuffed up something on your driveway here. I really apologize. Can I do anything for it? He's like, yeah, let's take a look. They go out there and they turn the corner and who's standing there but 4 dudes with ski masks, and they kidnapped them. So unless you're staying strapped 24/7, it's probably going to happen. I mean, if they're smart enough. So that's the part that sucks. I have a decoy wife. That could probably play out pretty well. Let's see. Life-changing wealth comes from taking the wife. It's pretty funny. Does Bobby do kidnapping so he can gamble more on meme coins? Bobby is barely making it. My friend Bobby is an idiot, but he is really good at buying and selling meme coins. So he follows a very simple procedure called the half and half method. As soon as it doubles, he sells half. Then if it doubles again or triples or quadruples, he sells half of that. And then he keeps going until it doesn't double or triple. And then he's like, piece of trash. And he just sticks in his wallet like dust, goes on his way. Yeah, stay strapped 24/7. You mind if you could do that? I mean, you can't do it. I mean, if you got like a concealed carry, but it is, kind of cumbersome to carry the gun all the way around. My guns are organic. Swap everything to EOS and publish in every. You know what? That's a great idea. You know what I should do? It's just us. It's just me, you, and Gas Fee Fees talking. I should just go on Twitter and YouTube and just go, you know what, guys? I'm going all in on BitConnect. BitConnect had a rough time in 2017, but I think it's going to come back. So we'll see. And then just say that so no one wrench attacks me. I stay strapped like a spider with a butcher knife. Nice. Mohammed says, let's change the sentiment to we are in a bear market. I wouldn't say we're in a bear or bull. We're in a very boring market. I'll tell you that. Unless you're a leveraged trader, I think this is probably pretty good for you. People were asking in the comment section, like, hey, why isn't everything going up? I mean, institutions are coming in. We got nation states buying it, sovereign nations. We got the essential president of the United States and his whole administration back behind trying to make digital assets the primo asset or really just push it along in the United States. And I said, why? Well, it's because institutions are just buying up slowly behind the scenes. and they're not really moving I watched this video from Plan B, and it was kind of depressing because he said, we looked at yesterday IBIT and how successful their ETF was with Bitcoin. It is the third largest ETF they've ever had out of their 1,614 offerings. That's great. It looks like it's going to actually surpass that pretty soon. But what Plan B was saying, and I think it was a couple other people too, I think it was Tom Lee who all said this. Yeah, we think what's happening is that people who had Bitcoin in cold storage, they're just selling it and just getting right into the ETF. So they're just doing tit for tat. Or if they're institution size or they're bigger size, they're able to just go, hey, I'm just going to do an in-kind transfer. I don't know if you can, I don't think you could do this, but they said you could. I'm just going to do an in-kind transfer where I'm going to send my Bitcoin to you guys and put that in the ETF and just do me one for one. I didn't know they could do that, but maybe if they could, then that would be like, you know, IBIT saying, BlackRock saying, yeah, we're doing really good, but it's just the same money. It's not new money coming in. And I thought about that. I go, how sad is that? We talk about how great Bitcoin is. We see the writing on the wall. We know it's a great asset, essentially being digital gold. I don't think it's a peer-to-peer for transaction stuff right now. It just seems like more people would get it. Although, sound off in the comments. Have you recently talked to your friends about Bitcoin? I just did it today, and it was very difficult. Let's see. Rob's DGen alter ego. Who the heck said that, Mikey? That is ridiculous. Stay strapped in the shower. But anyone ever go blind arcade again? Just say you put in all ADA. Nobody wants that. Such a dirty, funny. I hold Ethereum so no one robs me. Oh man, I got to show you guys this. There was this great artificial and AI generated video from Decimalist, who's heavy into Cardano. And he said, hey, he texted me, he goes, hey, Rob, you want to have a cameo in my new video? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So when he put this out, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So let me see if I can just pull this up. And I got to tell you, like the AI videos that are coming out these days are awesome. Oh, I can't find it now. Where did I put it? It's the problem with having too much time to send out tweets. I'm just put Decimalist. Oh, well, I'll find it a bit. What else we got? Or buy a dash of salt. That's what. Crypto Al. This happens last cycle. Born the bank, the most hated of all rallies. We're in a boar market. Is that too more a tiara? Who's got a good question? Can you use two phones, one for talking with friends and one for crypto? I will tell you, Mickey Watkins from World Mobile Token, he contacted me a couple of days ago. He said, hey, are you ready to sign up for World Mobile? I said, sure. And I was going to just transfer my phone over, but there was one little caveat, which was, since it's so new of using World Mobile Token, that you'd had to port over, you'd have to get a whole new number. He said, yeah, he goes, you can port over your number later, but it's not now. So I'll be setting up today a second one of my old phones, and I'll be using World Mobile. And I think that's going to be my phone for all crypto-related projects and things that I do, because I need to stay safe, like Uzi said. So let me know if you think that's how you would do it. Put that in the comment section, kind of go from there. Guess not. Let's see, soon. Ooh, what'd I miss? Yeah, Andrew said that was my exact plan with the Seeker phone from Solana, if it ever arrives. I didn't know it was behind the times. I will tell you this, though. I really wish I would have gotten the first phone from Solana. That phone was, well, you got a bunch of bonk, which pretty much bailed you out. And I like that part. Because when you got the original Solana phone, what it would be was like an airdrop for bonk, and then bonk went crazy as far as the price action. And then it paid for your phone like 2 or 3 times over. Pretty good. PAX G is a no-go for me. No problem with that. Let's see. Texas Joe, Rob, will things heat up in July or what? If I say it won't, it probably will. And if I say it will, it probably won't. So it won't. There. You're welcome. Hopefully it does. You know, there's a reason why that sell in May and go away and come back in October is reasonably accurate. And if you take a look at the different years, you can see that, especially with traditional markets, it actually does work out like that. But for us, there's been some years, I believe 2019, it didn't really follow that, and 2023 maybe. So we'll see if it skips 20, which it did, and goes to 25. Darren, seller ships August 8th. That sounds good. How's your back? It's pretty good. Helium phone or Helium service. Yeah, I looked at that one. The difference between like Helium Mobile, it's kind of like that Ryan Reynolds phone service, Chime or whatever it is, Crisp, I forgot the name, starts with a C. And it's where they piggyback off of T-Mobile. But with World Mobile, they're not piggybacking for anything. They actually have their own infrastructure built in. So they're not using other phone carriers' infrastructure, it's their own infrastructure. This is why it took so long. Using Saga, that's a good one. Taryn says, 2 friends recently want to know more about Bitcoin. But when they start saying magic internet money, I tell them they ain't ready. Yeah, I was trying to tell people. And then once you get into it, then you start to sell. Then you ask the question, like I asked them, you know where inflation comes from? And then you go down that rabbit hole. And that's just too much for people because they're like, what? The Treasury, Jerome Fed, I don't understand. What? That doesn't make any sense. You know, we've had politicians. Elizabeth Warren told me that inflation comes from those greedy corporations. There's no way that the government will be responsible for that. Just because they printed a few $1 trillion shouldn't really mean much. And then you have to go down that rabbit hole, which I really shouldn't have. Really, I should just say like this. Look, Bitcoin is a store of value. And it's unlike gold that is finite at only 21 million. It's the best performing asset class ever. It's beat every single stock, every single commodity. And it's why I own a boatload of it, and you should too. That's really all I should have said. But I didn't. I went a little bit too crazy. But I was drinking too, so what are you going to do? Garlinghouse is speaking in front of the Senate on July. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. That's probably why ETH is better for normies. Yeah, perhaps so. Yeah, if they just say like it's the smart contract, or it's the computer of the internet. That's it. At the end of the day, follow the big money. That's true. Follow the big money, not the smart money. It's not smart. It's just a lot of it. ETF better for normies. That I think. Base says, Rob, do you think iTRUST is going to add Stellar XMR? Is that X or is that Monero? I always forget those two. I was planning to add to my top long-term holdings. XMR. Yeah, it's Monero. That's right. I think Stellar is XLM or something like that. I don't know. I just know that they recently got Solana staking, which was pretty cool. In my retirement account, you can get a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. I chose the Roth IRA. Links in the description what those two different ones are. It's under the iTRUST Roth IRA video. And I thought it was great that I can stake the Solana that's in my retirement account that is appreciating tax-free over time. And I get the staking rewards, which are not taxed because they're in my tax-deferred, my tax-exempt retirement account, my Roth IRA. So everything that's happening in there, when I turn 59 and a half, just take it out and that's it. No taxes. Pretty sweet. And they just told me that they're going to be adding 2 more. Do you want to know which 2 other ones there are? They're going to offer staking? I bet you would. But I can't say anything. Yeah, staking iTRUST, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty nice. Yeah, Darren's got a point. I love the boring days, the more time to DCA. Yeah. And you know what? Crypto Allison, and I thought about it before. Peter Thiel, I don't know if you know that guy, multi-billionaire investor, you know, part of the PayPal mafia, as I call him, with Elon Musk and all those guys that created PayPal. And then the Silicon Valley massive investor. That's how he has $5 billion that is tax exempt. He took his PayPal stocks, which were worth pennies, stuck it in his Roth IRA. So that's what I got. And then now that he's pretty sure he's only 59, over 59, he takes it out and it's tax exempt. So it's the same thing like when you put in Bitcoin or Solana or all the different things that I have in there, ETHEREUM and blah, 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 Cardano, blah, blah, blah. You put all that stuff there and comes out tax exempt. Yeah, that's pretty great. Debating taking a loan for for life reasons or selling half my stack. Well, what's the rate of the loan? That's my question. Let's see. You cannot move crypto directly into the iTRUST, though, can you? No. So there's two. Actually, there's multiple products for iTRUST. One is the retirement accounts, which is the traditional, and the Roth IRA. The other one is custody services. And we talked about this at length. So with the retirement account, you have to buy everything with cash. You have to go there, you have to connect to your bank, and you have to buy that with cash, and it sits there. Kind of not a great deal, but it is what it is. Now for the custody, they just started this about 4 weeks ago or so, which is pretty cool. They said, look, we know that there's a bunch of wrench attacks going on. We know that people are getting socially engineered and getting scammed. If you don't want the responsibility of that, we understand. Send it to us. We use the same custodial service that BlackRock and MicroStrategy does, which is Coinbase Prime. And we're going to lock that away in there. And there's a video, it's under all those videos that you just saw, the one about storage diversification. Watch that video, I explain why. It's very safe and how they set it up. They're like a Web 2.5 because when you want to withdraw that, first of all, it's free to send it over. You can send over your Bitcoin, your Solana, your Ethereum. There's like 5 other ones, I think. You can send all that stuff over and not pay a dime. And they will hold it for you as long as you want to. The catch, which I don't think is really a bad catch, is when you want to take it out and sell it, it's 1%. And you can't take Bitcoin back out. It's like Hotel California. Once you check in, you can never leave. Is that how it goes? There's a check. Oh yeah, no. You can check out, but you can never leave. So with that one, you send your Bitcoin in. You're like, I want to take that Bitcoin out. Nope. Sorry, because we don't know we know who you are, but we don't know if you've been kidnapped. We don't know if this is an AI voice generated. Even though maybe you've gone through the whole hoops, we don't know what's going on. It can only go to your bank account under your name, meaning you have to sell it to send it back to your bank. And someone said, I don't want to do that. Don't do it. I did. I'd get a big fat chunk that sent it over there. I'm like, when I sell it, that's cool. Because if I want to take it out, I sell, I pay you guys 1% because you've been holding it for 10 years or whatever it is. Goes to my bank, only under my account, my account name. You can't send it anywhere else. You can't send my Bitcoin or my Solana or my Ethereum or Cardano, whatever. You can't send it to a crypto wallet because that's the easiest thing to do. So that's why we did it. Yeah, Bitcoin sauce. The Eagles. Oh, that's right. Mike's right. You can also roll a current 401k plan into iTRUST. That is also true. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I wanted barbecue sauce, but just asked for Bitcoin sauce. Andrew says, maybe the better option is to roll existing IRA into iTRUST and then convert to Bitcoin. What I'm going to recommend for all these questions, and I'm pretty sure you can, but what's great about iTRUST is that actually, when I was in California, see family, I actually stopped by their office. And they said, hey, do you want to meet our new customer service reps? I was like, yeah, I was expecting like a couple guys. It was 37 people. And I was like, damn, he's like, yeah, we had to get a whole new wing and everything. I go, so you guys hired all these people for customer service? Like, yeah, why? He said, because people really want this. And I was like, that's crazy. And they're in America. Like, yeah, they're right here. They live here. I was like, Great. So now, instead of like just blindly doing something, I want you guys to call iTRUST and talk to them about custody, talk to them about Roth, talk to them about traditional IRA, talk about anything you want to. They actually have people there that pick up the phone, which is crazy. So yeah, it's a good question. Would you like fries with that Bitcoin sauce? Quit times, do you need retail here in order to pump the market, or is this different? No, we don't need retail, but it seems like there is forgive me. However, this is an old version. 1 square is 100 billion. This is all the money in the world, okay? Gold is roughly 22 trillion dollars. The S&P 500 is roughly $42 trillion. Global money supply is over, well, M2 money supply is over $100 trillion. Global stock market, 120 trillion. Global debt is 300 trillion. Real estate is $418 trillion. And then derivatives are 1 quadrillion. So and our market cap is what? $2.4 trillion. We don't need retail to come in. We just need these guys to figure it out and go, you know what? I think I am going to put some into Bitcoin. And we've got some pretty big investment advisors saying, you know, you should put like 40% in. So let's see. Donnie says the Genius Act allowed transfer of coins US-based not to pay capital gains. I don't know about the Genius Act, but I know that there was a provision in the Big Beautiful Bill that, and I think this is Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming, the senator, trying to get through, where she's saying, we don't want any capital gains tax up to $600 transactions, or I think it's like $10,000 a year or something like that. Well, they cut that down to $300,000 and $5,000. So I know people were really jazzed about going, we're not going to have any capital gains tax. Well, if we don't have any capital gains, it's very, very minimal. Because, you know, you can do a loophole with that. Yeah. Chris says, sorry, Chris. The derivatives market is about 6x of spot volume. Damn, it's a lot. Oh, I think that's pretty good, everybody. I think we just went off on a big tangent there, but answer everybody's question. I still think we're in the right place at the right time. Kind of boring right now, but you know, like Darren said, this is a great time to accumulate and what we've been doing. Anyhow, that's it for today. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Again, watch those crypto critical videos, or if you just want to, you know, go to the website, Dan Teaches Crypto, 100% free. It'll always be free. I put those videos off of YouTube and I put them onto a premium service called Vimeo. So there's no ads, there's no disruptions, and you can just watch the video that you want. Try that. Links in the description. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Our guy, Jerry V. Hall, will be here, so we'll talk about a whole host of things. Anyhow, great weekend.